So long term, let's say a 5-year lease, why would they pay twice the amount? Because they didn't have to come up with the down payment, the fix up costs. They're just a tenant. Most people don't really consciously think of this, but most businesses don't own the real estate they're in, they rent it.
They
So
rent it.
Real Estate Investing Profits presents Profit Masters with your host, world-renowned real estate coach and investor, Corey Boatwright. Now, strap in and get ready to learn elite wealth-building investment strategies taught by 6- and 7-figure house flipping masters as they reveal their best real estate investing profit secrets to you right now.
What is going on, my party people? My name is Corey Boatwright. I am your host of Real Estate Investing Profit Masters and the founder of Real Estate Investing Profits. Man, this is going to be a good one today. You are going to have your mind blown because we're going to talk about residential assisted living with one of the experts in the field, and his name is Guarino. Now, what he is going to be talking about is very special. He's going to be discussing how we normally talk about single-family residential houses. He's going to be talking about converting single-family residential houses, properties, into residential assisted living businesses. Very cool strategy and incredibly profitable. You're not going to want to miss this episode. It is absolutely mind-blowing. You're going to see how you can skin the cat in more than one way. Now, have you checked out our Down and Dirty Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide? Have you? If not, text the word PROFIT, that's PROFIT, to 38470. Text the word PROFIT at 38470, and magically it will be downloaded to whatever device you're using. I also want to encourage you, if you have been thinking about getting involved with coaching, now is the time to get dialed in and plugged in and invested in this incredible way that you can build an education and an absolute fortune for you and your family. Go to Corey's Coaching, CORYS, coaching.com, answer a few questions there, and see if we're a good fit to work together. Love to find out what you are up to and some of your experiences there. So, without any further ado, here is Mr. Guarino with Residential Assisted Living, RAL. Gene, are you there?
I'm here. Good to see you, Corey.
Hey, good to see you too, Gene. I appreciate you taking the time to be on here. You know, this is exciting because we talked with a lot of folks that tend to want to be fix and flippers and they want to be wholesalers. And we even have some apartment folks on here. I'm raising my hand on that too. But I'm excited to talk about this assisted living and what you have created with your program. And there's a couple of things that we ask our guests. A lot of our folks that listen, they want to know some of these same kind of questions. So I'll roll through those with you on here. But why don't you take a little bit of time, Gene, to introduce yourself and talk about who your ideal client is.
My ideal client, got it. Well, my name is Guarino, Residential Assisted Living Academy. We turn single-family homes into assisted living homes. So my ideal client, it depends. I got so many different kinds of clients, but in our niche, what we do is it is a real estate play, but more importantly, it's a business play. So the person who's living in the house, what you might consider as a tenant, it's somebody we're providing a service for, but that individual isn't actually our client. It's their son or daughter or grandson who's choosing the home and actually paying for their stay in the home.
Makes sense.
Don't know if it answered the question, but there it is.
Oh, that's great. Okay. And so what made you want to get involved with real estate investing, but more specifically assisted living?
You know, I started real estate when I was 18, and that was a long time ago. So at that point, I had already had a business for a couple of years. We were renting a property, and the landlord was bad and the property was worse. So we had to get either our own property or we're shutting it all down. So the first deal was no money down. I was 18, no money, no credit, no clue. And flash forward, About a long time ago, 20 years ago, somebody told me about residential assisted living. They didn't call it that. And I really wanted to learn more, but there was nobody there to teach me how. So I looked for somebody to teach me. The only few people that I could find doing it were either unwilling to teach me how or unable to because they weren't successful. So my interest went down until mom needed help. And that's when it became real to me that people, when they age, they start to need more help. It's not just a place to live, but it's care along the way.
Sure.
When I looked for a place for mom, I realized this is a huge opportunity because we couldn't find what we were looking for. So that's when I vowed to create it, this model in a home, a residential home that we can use for seniors and have 6, 8, 10, 12, 16 seniors in the home getting great care. And you can make a lot of money doing it as well.
So you didn't have necessarily an influence, but you were looking for an influence on this particular model. And so you decided to build it out. And really the influence, I guess, or the inspiration really came from your own mother.
Yeah.
And my mom's 76. And so I already having those conversations on what that's going to look like. And in fact, I think our listeners that do have their parents still with them, God bless you. You know, some of us that don't have all of them. And, you know, there is that conversation that will be coming up at some point is, are you going to let them take care of them, put them in a home, or where are they going to go? And, you know, so that's, and the need is so big. I know you have those numbers and we can get into that in a little bit on how big this market is. But did you ever have this breaking point when you said enough's enough before you went into real estate investing? You said it was over 20 years ago. Did you have something before that that you were really, working at and it just didn't work out and you kind of moved into investing?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I mentioned when I was younger, 18, had a music school, recording studio, small record label. We were actually the point where we had over 300 music students, kids who would come in. We'd give them music lessons. We had 5 of the high school teachers working for us. So it's pretty cool to walk down the hall telling your teacher, "Don't be late for work." But one of our big moments was we actually sat with a business consultant who showed us how we could take our successful business and go 3 times, so 3x where it was. And he laid it all out for us. We spent a lot of money to have him analyze it, laid it all out. And my brother and myself, who were in business then, and we still do business today, looked at each other and both of us said, "I don't want to do that. Do you want to do that?" And we're like, "No, I wanted to be a rock and roll musician and be playing in front of thousands of people with bright lights." And here we are teaching kids how to play. We're like, "That's it, shut it down." And the business analyst was so freaked out. He's like, "What are you talking about? It could be 3 times this big." But when you realize you're on the wrong path in life, I think one of the best things you can do is just stop the car and get out.
Right.
Do something else. And that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, I used to have hair all the way down the middle of my back. I was a guitar player, played in bands myself. I can fully appreciate being a musician and music. And so, what we do talk about here on the show is a profit master investing strategy, and it's kind of the thing that really sets you apart. That really gets the big kind of numbers. What really moves the needle? Can you talk about what's one of your best strategies right now in your space?
Yeah, when it comes to real estate, there's only so much you can do when it's fix and flip. It really depends on the cycle of the market, way up, way down, and how
Right.
many people are getting into the business, kind of messing it up for the rest of us. When
Right.
it comes to buy and hold, you and I were having a conversation about, I am so impressed that you have found great projects to get and to have
Not
other
easy.
people, given other people an opportunity to be a part of it. That's awesome because it gets harder and harder every day to find good projects.
Yes,
So
sir.
I think the idea of cash flow is really where it's at. It's not equity value, it's the cash flow that it produces. Because regardless of what happens in the cycle, I am a certified financial planner for over 20 years. I understand money, finance, business, but it's really about cash flow when it comes down to it. I don't care how much you have in the bank. If you don't have cash flow, it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't matter. Right. You
So
can't live on equity.
yeah. So I mean, I go through this in my presentation where it's like, what are the 5 things you can do with a single family home? And what we do is we use it to produce like 10,000 or more per month in net cash flow from just a single family home.
Jeez.
So
Yeah.
most people just need one of those, but if you have 2 or 3 of them, life is even better.
Oh man. Yeah. I can imagine uh some folks listening right now just the what you can do with one home
Mm.
when some folks are used to making 150 dollars
Right.
a door, right, and taking that 10x. It's just is super exciting. Did you have a big challenge doing this? Obviously, not everything's worked out the way that you probably wanted it to, although that sounds like a lot of great things have happened. Can you talk about some of your, maybe a challenge that you've experienced while you've been involved
Sure.
in this business?
So the first challenge was when I first heard about it, there was nobody to teach me or show me how. There wasn't a
Sure.
model to follow, no mentor, as you mentioned before. So the second challenge was, okay, I'm going to get in, but I've never done this before. Since I can't get somebody else to teach me, I kind of just have to get in. And that's an expensive way to do it. I don't
Sure.
encourage anybody to do it. Most people simply wouldn't survive it. But
Jeez.
that was certainly a challenge. Then the third part is raising capital. You're a pro at that and so on. But the idea of raising capital for something you've never done in an area that most people are not familiar with, that produced some challenges along the way as well. And then the biggest challenge, once you're operational, the biggest challenge in this business, what I do, is people. It's the
Sure.
residents, the families, the caregivers, the managers, it's humans. If we're all just bricks and sticks and dirt and mud, life would be easy. It's the humans that get involved that makes it hard.
Makes it complicated, right? All those personalities. Can't we all just be like each other?
I don't know if that'd be good, but
Right. All these entrepreneurs going around, all these hard-headed well, men and women. But what about one of your big, maybe big wins that you had, or something, maybe a great lesson that you've learned along the way of being involved with assisted living?
wow. Let me take you back even farther because I think this is so important that I remember there was a project that I was an angel investor in. So it wasn't assisted living, was before. So I was an angel investor. By the time it was done, I was in for $550,000. So I was in big. We needed more money. So now I'm on the other side of the table. A guy across the table, 20 years older than I was, he listened to what we said. And then at some point he stopped us and he said, I'm going to take a flyer on you. And I thought to myself, well, what does that mean? He goes, I don't know if the project you're working on now is going to work, if it's going to be good, but I like you guys. And I'm taking a flyer on you because it may not be this project, but it might be the next one or the next one. And Corey, that's what blew me away. And it's kind of like what
Wow.
we were talking about before. People are they trust you, they're buying into you, they see something there. And the deal that you've got today may not work, but the next one or the next one or the 10th one absolutely could. So the first thing that you're doing is you're selling yourself and the people around you.
It's true.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
that
it
one
makes
lesson.
that makes a big that makes all the difference in the
Yep.
world. And that's a great lesson. In fact, we often think about it's the deal,
Yeah.
and really it's the team. It's the folks that are involved in the deal
Yep.
that can make that deal great, or can really make it go sideways or south very, very quickly. If you had to start all over again, Gene, how would you do things differently than what you've done so far?
The That's a great question. The I would say the biggest thing that I would suggest is the idea of DIY, do it yourself. You're only going to get so far when you say,
That's
I'm the only
true.
one who can do it, I'm the best, the smartest, or I can't trust somebody else. Because Richard Branson has over 300 businesses, not one office. Take that, for instance, not one single office. In other words, it's all about finding the right people
Right,
and
people.
surrounding yourself with them, giving them the resources and support and saying, go do it. So when I got to the point where it was just me and I'm so strapped, I'm 80 hours a week, loving it, but still it's eating me alive, I needed to get some help. Now I've got a team of 25 people that are circling around, orbiting around, and things are so much better and
Oh
bigger
man.
than they ever were before. So don't do it yourself.
Don't do it yourself. And the biggest challenge I think with entrepreneurs is asking for help. And I,
Hmm.
I think it's because there is this idea that when you do, you feel less than,
Yeah.
and you want to do things yourself. And to some point, to get to where you are in life as an entrepreneur and not working for somebody else, you kind of have to do a lot of stuff yourself. But the funny part is that what you get to one level, you want to go to this next level, and then you want to do the same things that took you to this level to try to get to this level. And Gene, this is true. You have to change not only the way you do things, but the way you think about doing things. And whenever you're here at a one-man show, you can't move to this next level without a good team, a good people in place, processes, systems, all those things. And that's what's really great about what you've been able to accomplish, because you got to a certain level, then you realize that you needed that team. Now you got 25 people around you, and makes things so much
Yeah.
more efficient. We say easier, but makes things more efficient.
Yeah.
And you still have to juggle things, you have to manage those people. But my gosh, you get a lot more accomplished when you have an absolute great team. Would you agree?
Absolutely, and that is your highest and best asset as humans. The
Yes.
what they can do, why they're how they're different than you, and how we can all work together. Because not everybody has the skill set that you and I do, and a lot of people listening and watching right now. We have visions, we have systems in place, but other people need to be plugged in, and their highest and best use could be supporting exactly what you're doing in a very uh, you and I might say you're in a box, but that's where they live. That's their highest and best use is to do this piece.
Let's do a
We don't.
10,000-foot view, just a broad stroke on. I know folks are listening right now. They're going, what is this assisted living? Can you just broad stroke it out for someone that really hasn't heard about it before, and not don't only speak and define what it is, Gene, in 30 seconds to a minute, but then talk about how it's a little bit different from the way you're able to make income from these properties versus a single family home.
Got it. So really, there's two parts to what we do. One's the real estate, and one's the business. So the real estate, you can keep it simple. You can buy and hold the real estate and lease it to the operator of a residential assisted living. Now, when I say residential assisted living, there's 20 different names across the country for it: personal care home, assisted living facility, and so on.
Right.
But you can own the real estate and just lease it to the operator. And I always tell people for up to twice the market rent with a long-term, low-impact tenant. So long-term, let's say a 5-year lease, why would they pay twice the amount? Because they didn't have to come up with the down payment, the fix-up costs. They're just a tenant. Most people don't really consciously think of this, but most businesses don't own the real estate they're in. They rent it.
They
So
rent it.
you can just have the real estate lease it to the operator, get twice the rent with a long-term tenant, 5 years with 5-year renewals. Pretty good play there. The other side is using this home, and it's a residential home in a residential setting, not multifamily, not commercial, using this home for this business. And that's the only time you're going to hear me say that because it's a group home for the elderly, right? For this business that we call residential assisted living, where you're charging people 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 a month per person with 10 people in that home. So the income is huge, and then your expenses themselves, they're pretty big too, but you're left with 20 to 30% of that gross income as your profit each month. That's what you're shooting for, is 20 to 30%. So cap rate wise, that'd be a 20 or 30 cap. That's huge, enormous, but it's not an apartment building, Corey. So I know that a lot of you people listening are thinking real estate, different thing. That's pretty easy, right? Where we have a property manager, a building, we maintain it, we keep it full. This, well, I do a lot of moving parts. So the moving parts is why you're earning that extra, you're getting 20, 30% cap rates. But I'm not
Right.
hands-on. I was there. We met at a live event. I'm hanging out. We're having a good time. That's where I was while somebody else is the manager and others are the caregivers. I'm not at the home. I rarely go there other than the live trainings we do.
Yeah. So once you set up this business,
Mhm.
basically you have uh, people that play in this act, right? You have insurance companies, you have caretakers, you have the actual patients themselves. You have people to check on, and then you're renting out these bedrooms, right, for 3, 4, 5 times the amount of money that you'd normally get rent for, right? On top of that, there's some other profit centers in there too that we probably haven't even discussed about. So you take let's say an average someone gets somebody's head wrapped around this. Take a 4-bedroom house that
Mhm.
you may only rent. Let's say each one, you might rent this 4-bedroom house out here in Oklahoma. Let's say you might rent that out, a nice 4-bedroom house, let's say for $1,500 a month in a
Right.
nice area. So 4 bedrooms on the assisted living, if it was set up the correct way that you could teach on doing that, you might be able to now get rent for per bed, which would be 4, maybe let's say 4 times that, so $6,000 a bed. Does that sound right? Or $3,000 a bed?
Well, let me answer the question, but I want to go back and I just want to make sure because some of the terms you use, it's important that I make sure we have clarity on it
Please.
because you're coming from a real estate perspective. So tenant, landlord, and that all leads to all kinds of other things. Number
Sure.
one,
Thank you for clarifying.
And it's not patients because it's not medical. So I want you to think of it this way. Take that home, 4 bed. Let's make it, we convert another room and make it a 5 bed home.
5 bed. Okay.
We'll start with that. And let's say there's 2 people in each room. So these are called semi-private rooms. So it's a home. It may be 2,500 square feet, bigger than most. You've got 5 bedrooms and there's 2 people in a room.
2 people per
So
room.
so the overall census, the number of people is 10. And let's just say they're paying an average of $4,000 per person
Per
per
person.
month. So that's 40,000 of gross income. The expenses are certainly the house, the electricity, utilities, but it's the human resource, the caregivers and managers that are taking care of those residents, because that's really what you're doing is providing that service of caregiving to them. So 50% of that or less goes to the labor cost, and then another 20 or 30% goes towards the house, the food, the electricity, and everything else that goes with it. So the numbers, think again, let's say 20% of the gross income is your profit, but the expenses involved, real estate is just one piece. That's where the business is being held. The business is providing care for those residents. And these are residents, not patients. They're not tenants. It's not medical. So those are some of the numbers and the terms to use.
Okay. So in your numbers there for 40,000 coming in gross, 20,000 expenses on the caregivers, where's another 20% coming out of that as well. So so we got another 4. So you're going to be probably netting somewhere around $10,000 a month.
Exactly. 8 to 12. So $10,000 would be the range. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Could be. Yeah.
I think people could. I think we could make it on one house at $10,000 a month.
That's what I tell people. I say, can you squeeze by on 10 grand a month? And most people laugh and raise their hand. But if you have one of these homes, it's actually easier to have more than one. So picture 3 homes within 20 minutes of each other. Now you've got economies of scale because the manager can manage more than one home. The caregivers can be shared from home to home.
Right.
Economies of scale on expenses. So 3 homes times that. Now you're doing just fine.
I think you're making some people upset because they probably are listening right now and they have 50, 100, maybe 200 rental homes, and they're making maybe $100 to $150 net at the end of the day off each one. So that's quite a bit of a difference. Well, thank you for explaining that. I think that gives at least enough the broad view for folks to get excited to learn more about this if that's so that what they choose. I know this is really something that you've taken a lot of time to learn about, and you really know what this space looks like. I want to ask you some other quick questions,
Sure.
Gene, before we get off here. Appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today. What's one of your favorite motivational quotes?
One of my favorite motivational quotes.
Yes.
Wow. I heard one recently that I thought was great. It was different. It was stop talking about it and be about it.
I like that. Stop
Yeah.
talking about it and be about it. Right. Yeah, that's a good. What about a book? Do you have a favorite book that you really think someone should read?
Name a genre, meaning what category? Sales, business, life,
I would
spiritual.
say anything you choose that maybe really made an impact in your life.
One thing we're starting is Pitchmasters Academy, different thing, but the book called Unlimited Selling Power. by
Unlimited
Dr.
Selling Power. Who's
Yeah,
it by?
Dr. Donald Moyne, Moine. I
We're gonna
believe
put that
that's
in the show notes. Unlimited
Selling Power.
Selling Power. Okay.
But get the original version. Don't get the updated version. We're talking the book might be 20, 25 years old, but the newer
Okay.
version not as good. Get the old version.
Old version. Okay. Okay. And that book made an impact on you.
It really did. I mean, sales. I have kids. I have grandkids. You sell your kids on eating their peas. You sell the kids on or your wife on what restaurant to go to.
Sure.
Sales
sure.
is good, and once you understand that, it helps with raising capital. It helps with getting somebody to move into your apartment or your residential assisted living home.
Yes, that's great. Do you have a favorite app? Are you a technology guy, Gene? Do you have a favorite mobile app that you use on a daily basis?
Well, happyhours.com is pretty good on my app, but happy hour, that's right. But there's so many apps on the phone that I do use all the time, man.
What's one of
Do I
your
have a
favorite? What's one of your
favorite one?
favorite ones that you like to use every day? Do you like an Evernote or a Gmail that you use, or anything like that?
Oh, this one's going to sound really stupid. I travel a lot, though, Corey. Probably half my life is on the road. Here's one called Tunity. Tunity. If you're ever someplace where you can't hear the TV, that app, you put it on your phone, you point it at the TV, and you now can hear the audio from that in your headset off your telephone.
Oh, that's great. It's called
It is
Tunity.
Tunity.
So it works off of Bluetooth or doesn't work off of Bluetooth?
Somehow you take a picture of the TV screen and it recognizes what's on the TV and
What's
says
on the
"You're
TV
on."
and what dial? That's great. Okay. So
Oh,
probably a radio wave. Okay. That's interesting.
yeah. So
That's
you're going
cool.
to airport, watch
That's
the
great.
game. You can hear it from anywhere. It's great.
That's great. That's great. Do you get 8 hours of sleep a night?
Now, 8 hours, that would be something's wrong. I mean, I'm anywhere between 4 and 7, I'd say.
4 and 7. Yeah. Yeah. I'm around that 6 to 7. But I can get by with usually 5, but I like to be in that 6 or 7. 4 can be rough sometimes. Like you
Oh,
have to
yeah.
get caught up.
I didn't say I'm going to do that every day.
Every day.
It's just, there's a lot to do.
Do you have a morning routine?
Oh, unfortunately, I get up slowly. So I'll lie in bed, I'll check emails and internet, and I might do that for a half hour before I even get out of bed.
Before you even get out of bed?
Yeah.
Just kind of taking care of and answering stuff. And so
Yeah.
you don't really have like a set thing where you get up, you go to the sauna, you do all this, you don't have a kind of a set routine.
No, every day is a little bit different, which is great. I mean, I've never had a 9 to 5 job or worked for anybody else, frankly. So I am so glad about that.
Yeah. It's not like the freedom is what's great. That's the biggest thing for entrepreneurs too. It's just really the freedom. And speaking about that, if you had to summarize it, why do you do what you do?
I love to teach. I love to share. I love other people. I love to see the sparkle in somebody's eye when they get it. But most importantly, I love it when they do it. Last week I was in Ohio and I was speaking there, but I had a chance to go out to one of our students' homes who had just opened up, and just to see them there in that element with their home open, with residents in place, see the sparkle in their eyes, just like that's what it's all about.
That's great. And
Yeah.
if you had to sum it up, right? What is the thing that you're most grateful for?
Mm. Woo, man. There are so many things that I'm absolutely grateful for, and I really do thank God every single day for everything. But let's face it, I think health and relationships with people around you. I've been married for 34 years, have 4 incredible kids, 2 grandkids. But I know that if my relationship with my wife isn't running smoothly, everything else is
Everything's
chaos.
off, right? And it's weird
Oh
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So, and you're same thing. I mean, actually, my son, he's in Miami today speaking, and he and his wife are having a little something. Don't tell him I said this, but and after we got done talking some business on the phone, I said, "All right, Manny, I want you to listen to me for a moment. I want you to turn to your wife right now." And I said, "I want you to do 2 things. One, I want you to just stand nose to nose or a foot apart and just stare her in the eyes for 30 seconds. Don't do anything with your eyes, just look her in the eye. And then I
Mm,
just want you to hug for at least 30 seconds.
mm.
Because let's face it, man, if you just sit there and look somebody in the eye and just reconnect, uh,
It really makes a lot of things kind of melt away.
yeah,
It's great. We do that. My one that other thing to add to that is we pray too. So anytime we pray for one another, it's really hard to stay mad. And
mm,
it's just changing that emotional state, right? I mean, that makes all the big difference in the world when you're just so charged negatively. You attract a bunch of other things negative to you at that same time. And yeah, so that's a great exercise what you just said to do, and it really does work.
yep, it does.
Yeah,
I
it
don't know if
works.
that was the question, but that's the answer.
No, that's good. That's good. Well, help us find a way. How can we serve you? What can we do to get in touch with you? Is there something that you are offering to learn more about this? Do you have some programs that you're going to speak? There's places you can go. How do we get in touch with you, Gene?
Sure, and I appreciate that. I think if what I've said has caught anybody's attention, I wrote a book that's I'm happy to give you a copy of an electronic copy, and there's some webinars you can watch. And if you want to have a conversation and call me, you can. But the website to go to is very simple: RAL 101. So residential
RAL
assisted living.
101.
Yep.
Put
.com.
that in the show notes. RAL 101.
Yeah. So if you go there,
Residential assisted living's what that stands for.
yep.
101. Okay.
So just RAL 101, you can you can download the book, you can watch webinars, learn more, and you can do what we call a discovery call, which is call us and let's have a conversation. Does this make sense? Something you want to do? We've got a great website, but that'll get you a great start right there.
That's great, because I think some people are listening right now and they want to learn more, and they want to figure out what they need to do to learn about that. What kind of qualifications do they have? What's it cost to start up? Those things like that. So it's great that you have the book that they can go through, but also the discovery call to really find out where they are to see if this is the right fit. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gene, any final words? Thank you for taking the time to be on here again.
I'm going to say two things. One is, I guarantee you're all going to get involved in assisted living one way or the other. Either the real estate, the business, or your family member is going to be lying in a bed writing a check to somebody who does.
Yeah.
So if nothing else, do one of these homes for yourself and for your family, because I see a lot of people that come to the home, Corey, and they're not expecting, they didn't know it was going to cost $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 a month, and they're blown away. And people always ask, how do you pay for it? And the answer is, it's mom, it's dad. You're going to pay for it. It is, but you could avoid all of that pain, all of that burden being passed on for generations by just owning one home. Move into the master bedroom and live for free. So you decide one way or the other. You're going to get involved, but you may as well choose how. And right now you have a choice.
That's great. Well, thank you for taking the time again. We're going to put all this on the show notes. The book recommendation, your RAL 101 for the discovery call, and the book. Also some other great recommendations you had there for unlimited selling, for the original book, not the updated one. So thank you again, Gene. Appreciate you.
You got it. Thanks, Corey. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for taking the time to be on here. That is it for today. We're going to bring some amazing guests on again, just like Gene, so you can learn about their Profit Master investing strategy. Bye now.
Hi, this is Corey Boatwright, and I have a quick question for you. What is the fastest way to reach your goals? Is it to work harder, work smarter, use system and processes, or hire rock star employees? What about just making more money? Actually, it's none of that. Those things are a byproduct of the one success component that every real estate investor or business owner that I know all have in common. And the answer is clarity. Complete laser focus on what you want, why you want it, and what are you willing to do to get it. So where do you find clarity? By hiring a coach and mentor. Now, could you reach the level of success that you want to achieve by doing this all on your own? The Lone Ranger. Well, maybe, but do you think it would take you double or even triple the time to achieve it compared to hiring a coach and mentor to help guide your path, provide proven instruction with a tailored blueprint that you could follow for building a real estate business that supports your lifestyle and helps you reach your financial and personal goals? Absolutely. Here's the fact. Time isn't recyclable. So I would like to ask you to make good use of it and extend a personal invitation for you to book a phone coaching strategy session by going to callwithcorey.com. That's callwithcorey, Corey spelled CORY.com. I'm going to ask you a few quick questions on that page, and we're going to go over and see how we can make sure that your business is on path to reach the goals that you want this year. So go to callwithcorey.com, that's CORY, and book your phone coaching strategy session today. Remember, be a servant, and I'll see you on there.
You've been listening to another Real Estate Investing Profits Master Podcast series. To receive your free real estate book, Down and Dirty, Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide, how to quit your job to start flipping houses in 90 days or less, head online and go to realestateinvestingprofits.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Real Estate Investing Profits. Thanks again for listening, and stay tuned for our next episode.